Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Sthavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Sthavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. In the last two classes we have discussed the topic equimindedness. Today I am taking a new topic, gateway to liberation. First of all, we must know our position. If we are more and more interested and getting more and more involved in the worldly affairs, that means we are not ready yet for liberation. In other words, we are not aspiring for liberation. The more we get involved in the worldly affairs, whatever reasons may be, as long as we are engaged in the worldly duties, we are in bondage. As long as we are in bondage, we suffer. So there cannot be real joy in life as long as we are in bondage. So first of all, we must feel disgusted about the kind of happiness we are deriving from the world on account of the contact of the senses with the sense objects. It is like this. Suppose you run, keep on running. At one point you become exhausted and you no more want to run. You stop. Well, it's enough. I don't want to run anymore. In the same way, you have to feel that you don't aspire for worldly pleasures anymore. The reason is they are blocking your way to real happiness. They are blocking your way to liberation. So this is the first position we should know. When you are looking after help for getting out of this bondage, if you are looking for the gateway to liberation, then there is a way you have to take necessary steps and step into the gateway which leads you towards liberation. Now Sri Ramakrishna said to the Pandit, in the Gospel we read, Sri Ramakrishna said, it is good to live in the company of holy men now and then. So he has hinted in this very sentence, the gateway to liberation is association with the holy. The disease of worldliness can be treated only by the medicine of the holy company. Holy company helps us to a great extent to get over the worldly disease which is bothering all the time. Again Sri Ramakrishna says, it is necessary for you to live in the company of holy people. First of all, the company of holy people, then Shraddha, faith in God. Faith in God blossoms when you become associated with the holy people. Again Sri Ramakrishna says, one should always seek the company of holy people. And he gives the example, the nearer you approach the Ganges, the cooler the breeze will feel. Again, the nearer you go to a fire, the hotter the air will feel. So, the next point Sri Ramakrishna tells, which is very important for us who are struggling in the spiritual life, Sri Ramakrishna says, one cannot achieve anything through laziness and procrastination. Procrastination. It's all a question of the mind. Bondage and liberation are of the mind alone. Again, these are the words of Sri Ramakrishna I am quoting from Gospel. The mind will take the color you dye it with. It is like white clothes just returned from the laundry. If you dip them in red dye, they will be red. If you dip them in blue or green, they will be blue or green. They will take only the color you dip them in, whatever it may be. Haven't you noticed that if you read a little English, you once begin to utter English words, foot, mit, etc. Then you put on boots and whistle a tune and so on. It all goes together. Or if a scholar studies Sanskrit, he will at once rattle off Sanskrit verses. And then Sri Ramakrishna says further, if you are in bad company, then you will talk and think like them, like your association. On the other hand, when you are in the company of devotees, you will think and talk only of spiritual ideas, you talk only of God. That's how you turn yourself towards God. So this is the introduction to my topic today, the gateway to liberation. There is a scientist, he concentrates very much on the theme which he was working. And finally, he discovers, after making a discovery, he is very eager to share it with his fellow scientists. That is, they love to share with people. So there is joy in sharing. There is joy in talking, in living together with right understanding and right thinking and right practice. Sri Ramakrishna, how much he underwent spiritual sadhanas, then he got great results. After his great achievement in his spiritual practices, the immediate thing was he wanted to share them. He wanted to give them to the people. He wanted people to come to him. He wanted to live with them. He wanted to share with them the joy of God, the glory of God. So he was aspiring for the spiritually minded persons. So he was so much eager to have them, he would climb to the rooftop and cry, "Oh my children, why do you delay in coming?" His cry was not in vain. Men and women, boys and girls, belonging to various strata of society, and with varied mental and spiritual equipment, they all came to him, even as bees wing their way to a flower in bloom. Wherever Sri Ramakrishna was, it was a mart of joy, dancing and singing, laughing and joking, went side by side with the exposition of the most subtle truths in the most lucid way. He provided most valuable company to the sadhakas. Where do you find such a holy company as Sri Ramakrishna? Every bit of him was holy. And whoever would come near him would have the effect of holiness. All the people, they were all influenced immensely, and they were all blessed in the company of Sri Ramakrishna. The point is how it is very important to enter into spiritual realm. You must become associated with the holy people, with the holy ideas, with the holy surroundings, environment, holy atmosphere. It is very, very important. Sri Ramakrishna trained his disciples also in the same way. He trained Narendranath to be a good company to the spiritual seekers. Swami Vivekananda fulfilled his master's idea by his triumphant lecture tours in the East and the West, and by organizing the Ramakrishna Math and the Ramakrishna Mission, which provide a broad platform for sincere souls to come together and work in harmony. So a concentrated holy company, concentrated holy association you find in Ramakrishna Mission centers. That's why we take important steps to maintain spiritual atmosphere, spiritual vibrations. So every day there will be regular worship, meditation, prayers, every sadhana is important, and all the spiritual seekers who are aspiring for liberation must become associated with these programs. They are held here. You don't have to struggle. In home, everybody has to struggle to create an atmosphere, to conduct a program. You have to do so many things, but here everything is set. What is required is you have to be present there, that's all. You will get all the benefit of the holy association. The same thing we find in Holy Mother's life also. She also exemplified the same outlook. She said, moksha, liberation, was in the palm of her hand. She took upon the role of being an excellent mother whose noble virtue was pure love. She never stood on a higher platform patronizing devotees. She mixed with them as a fellow human being. She herself served them manually, removing even the leaf of the leaf plate on which a servant had been fed by her. Holy Mother of such highest spiritual stature had the greatest quality of easy accessibility. Saulabhya. Sri Ramchandra is also described in the same way. Anybody could come and meet Sri Ramchandra. He was available. So we find all the people would be happy, even by uttering the name of Rama. So mother was like that, always kind and affectionate, accessible to everyone. Some people delight in their superiority complex. The genuinely great freely mix with all without any show. Such are most noble good company to be associated with. Here now, Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and the great disciples, they are all present in the form of books. All the teachings are recorded meticulously, in great detail. Just you go through them, you are bathing in the holy company. It must be remembered that it was this perspective of the Holy Mother that was responsible for the genesis of the Ramakrishna movement. When Sri Sharda Devi noticed that after the passing away of the great master, the disciples were wandering all over the country in order to practice severe austerities, her mother heart could not stand the sight of these young disciples begging their food. So she fervently prayed to the Lord that the children might all live together under the same roof, keeping one another company and spreading the message of the Master all the world over. What a great blessing it is. It is because of this great holy association named after Ramakrishna, we all could come and join the mission. It is her prayer that made Ramakrishna order came into being and is spreading sweetness and light everywhere. So Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda, and the great disciples, they all stand for holy company. Association is fruitful of good only when it is with the good. Sri Ramakrishna, who was such jolly company, was also very particular about the company he kept. He had a very shrewd eye. He was spiritually so sensitive that his body would burn at the touch of the impure-minded. When such people would come, Sri Ramakrishna would suggest them to go for a walk in the gardens outside. There is humor as well as significance in the vow the master made to the Divine Mother when Keshav Chandra Sen, the great leader of the Brahma Samaj, who became the devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, when he fell ill, Sri Ramakrishna was worried. And he prayed the mother that he would offer her green coconuts if she spared Keshav to him. His agony was, if Keshav died, with whom was he to talk? Where was he to find good people like Keshav? He valued so much the goodness of a person. And by that point, he's putting the stress on, we should always be associated with the holy people. In training his disciples, Sri Ramakrishna took extraordinary care to see that these boys kept only the company of the spiritual aspirants. The real Sangha is only Satsang. He would set an example to the youngsters by himself visiting all the available genuine spiritual seekers in the area. His vast and varied contacts with spiritual persons got him all the wisdom, all the scriptures, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Mahabhagavat, Puranas, all the ideas in them, they become very familiar to Sri Ramakrishna on account of Sri Ramakrishna's being constant touch with the holy people who would often come and who would meet Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna would meet them. By talking to them, he absorbed many, many spiritual ideas from them. Satsang was a very good investment for Sri Ramakrishna. And he encouraged all who came in contact with him to go in for that investment. He was very vehement in extolling the greatness of chanting the divine name and keeping holy company. He said they were the easiest means for the realization. When someone visited him for the first, Sri Ramakrishna would always tell him tenderly to come again. He would invite them, come more often. Why did you not come all these days? He would inquire like that. So, coming in contact is very important step that opens the gateway to liberation. Sri Ramakrishna said, Satsang is like a fence to a freshly planted sapling. Till it grows into a tree, protection is necessary from the goats and other hungry animals roaming about. Satsang protects the novice from the snares of the world. Once the plant has grown into a huge tree, spreading branches, can offer solace and shelter to multitudes. Similarly, by keeping the company of the good, we progress on the spiritual path. We can ourselves radiate goodness to many aspirants. Satsang is the Sang that leads to Sat. Holy company takes us to the Holy of Holies. The purpose of human life is God realization. It is one of the secrets of the spiritual adventure that the means adopted should be but a replica of the goal to be achieved. The good can be attained only by cultivating the good. Acharya Shankara elucidates the chain reaction. In one of his compositions, Shankaracharya says, Satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan muktihi. Excellent composition. The meaning is association with the good, satsanga, leads to dissociation from the mundane things. This in turn generates dispassion. When passions wane, the eternal truth is reflected in the mind. Then ensues total freedom even while alive. That is Jivan Mukti. Companionship of the good is a catalyst that speeds up spiritual progress. Good company is highly effective. Unknown to ourselves, our angularities and peculiarities get rubbed off. Egoism gets progressively liquidated. The artificial barriers that separate each of us from the rest melt away like snowflakes before the rising sun. In the company of the good, we also become like-minded. Having tasted the goodness of the good, all other tastes appear bitter to us. Without any special effort on our part, we find our minds getting more and more oriented towards the goal supreme. Our environment helps us enormously in this process. As the Bhagavad Gita says, Bodhayanta parasparam tushyanticha ramanticha. Mutually inspiring one another, the good companions rejoice and sport in unison. What electronics calls the feedback principle starts operating. If you see the amplifier, in an amplifier, part of the output is fed back to the increase the input and thus amplify the output still further. When good people come together, they reinforce one another's goodness. So, good company is immensely important and we should cherish that. We shall continue the same topic next Tuesday. Page 631. There are still other classes and kinds of people. For instance, there are those who are eternally free, those who have attained liberation, those struggling for liberation, and those entangled in the world. So many varieties of men. Sages like Narad and Shukadev are eternally free. They are like a steamship which not only cross the ocean but can carry big animals, even an elephant. Further, the soul that is eternally free is like the superintendent of an estate. After bringing one part of the estate under control, he goes to another. Those struggling for liberation strive heart and soul to free themselves from the net of the world. One or two of them may get out of the net. They are called the liberated. The souls that are extremely free are like clever fish. They are never caught in the net. But the souls that are entangled, involved in worldliness, never come to their senses. They lie in the net, but are not even conscious that they are entangled. If you speak of God before them, they at once leave the place. They say, "Why God now? We shall think of Him in the hour of death." But when they lie on their deathbeds, they say to their wives or children, Why have you put so many wicks in the lamp? Use only one wick. Otherwise too much oil will be burnt. While dying, they think of their wives and children and weep, alas, what will happen to them after my death? The entangled souls repeat those very actions that make them suffer so much. They are like the camel, which eats thorny bushes till the blood streams from its mouth, but still will not give them up. Such a man may have lost his son and be stricken with grief, but still he will have children year after year. He may ruin himself by his daughter's marriage, but still he will go on having daughters every year. And he says, what can I do? It is just my luck. When he goes to a holy place, he doesn't have any time to think of God. He almost kills himself carrying bundles for his wife. Entering the temple, he is very eager to give his child the holy water to drink or make him roll on the floor. But he has no time for his own devotions. These bound creatures slave for their masters to earn food for themselves and their families. And they earn money by lying, cheating, flattery. They laugh at those who think of God and meditate on Him and call them lunatics. So you see how many different kinds of men there are. You said that all men were equal, but how many varieties of men there are. Some have more power and some less. The entangled creatures, attached to worldliness, talk only of worldly things in the hour of death. What will it avail such men if they outwardly repeat the name of God, take a bath in the Ganges, or visit sacred places? If they cherish within themselves attachment to the world, it may show up at the hour of death. While dying, they rave nonsense. Perhaps they cry out in a delirium, turmeric powder, seasoning, bay leaf, the singing parrot. When at ease, repeats the holy name of Radha and Krishna. But when it is seized by a cat, it utters its own natural sound. It quacks, ka ka. It is said in the Gita that whatever one thinks in the hour of death, one becomes in the afterlife. King Bharat gave up his body exclaiming, dear, dear, and was born as a deer in his next life. But if a man dies thinking of God, then he attains God and he doesn't have to come back to the life of this world. We shall stop here. So, in order to get rid of the disease of worldliness, in order to get rid of bondage, one has to seek holy company. One should constantly be in the holy company. And one should give first priority to this. So, your journey, your spiritual journey opens up only when you become associated with the holy. That's all what I wanted to say. Any questions to ask? Correct. Anything to say? Nothing. All accepted. And we shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bought for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence. Though it tears my soul asunder, O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous reign tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy man live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.